Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents I'll Pray for You and Other Outrageous Things Said to Disabled People by Hannah Setzer. Narrated by Erin Deward. Preface. I was in Mexico, sitting beside my private pool. You may pause this book now and think, dang, she's a spoiled brat. I'm over this. I promise you this isn't my normal state, but here I sit. Halfway through our vacation, I had a little existential crisis. Based on the synopsis of this book, you'll know I'm a person who does a lot of things. I prefer the term festive human. Advocate, dreamer, wife, mother, queen of a small business, executive director of a nonprofit, farmer, and writer. Add to the list aspiring locksmith, mini cow owner, TED Talk giver, and potential moon-goer. Anyway, I was having an existential crisis because someone recently told me that I do too much and need to focus my energy on one thing. That's kind of hard to do when I have all these humans and animals to take care of and medical bills to pay and fun to be had. So I didn't appreciate the advice too much. Also, I tried having one focus in 2021. My first focus was to get a book deal. I got 30 rejections and cried a lot and didn't talk about how hurt I was because of it. Then my husband and I started a nonprofit to build an accessible playground in our country town. That became my only focus. I pored over online commercial land listings, called dozens of realtors and lenders, and mostly just got laughed at by banks. I felt like Lorelai Gilmore when she tried to open the Dragonfly Inn and said that she could still hear the banks laughing hours after her meetings with them to obtain a loan. I started crying every day and feeling very rejected. Everyone praised me for having such a great idea and noble cause, but no one could help us. Hopefully, by the time this book is released, we'll have bought land and built an accessible playground and garden. If 2021 taught me anything, it is that having one focus in life is not for me. It leads to a lot of crying because I want things to happen instantly, and maybe deep down I think that I'm a relatively good person and think things should happen how I want and when I want. Back to my existential crisis. I acted like nothing was wrong. Lies, all lies, and told Brandon how I felt like a failure. I couldn't get a book deal. I couldn't make million-dollar dreams come true in 7 months. I was seeking hits of dopamine from new projects left and right because I couldn't bear to face more Zillow listings or more literary agent rejection letters. Brandon said to focus on one thing. I told him that was not an option. He said to flip a coin and focus on whatever landed, and then brandished a penny. I told him I didn't want to do that either. Then he got mad at me for rejecting all his ideas, which was probably an acceptable response after he let me cry on his shoulder. Then, in a huff, he said, "Why can't you start writing again?" And I said, "Because I'm scared." Which, hello, I had not even admitted to myself. So I was shocked and a little mad that my husband was able to get me to admit this. He asked what I feared, and I said more rejection. He very plainly said, "I don't know who told you that you deserved a book deal or that it would be easy to get, but they were wrong." Then I punched him in the nose and walked out. Just kidding. I just stared agog at him. He said, "Hannah, why do you want to write a book?" And I told him because I know I have a story to tell inside me, and it's been bursting to come out for like 18 years at least, starting with my Zanga and live journal blogs. He sat up and looked at me and said, "Then write. Why are you letting 30 literary agents out of the millions of literary agents in the world tell you that you can't write a book? Write the dang book and self-publish it. You can't be mad at them for saying no." Then I admitted, again a surprise to me, that I was mad at myself for not doing the dang thing I felt called to do, and instead shrinking back in fear and shielding myself from more rejection by ceasing to write at all. As someone who has been stubborn from the time she was knitted together in her mama's womb, and who has rejected a lot of people who rejected her, hi, the entire medical community who told my mom and dad I wouldn't live, I was somehow brought down by lit agents over email. Then I opened up my Instagram DMs, and a dude sent me a message saying, "Hey, I saw on one of your posts you were looking for a book deal. I'm a ghostwriter and would love to help you make your dreams come true. Can we chat?" And I looked around and thought this had to be a cosmic joke. Before my talk with Brandon, I had asked God, "Hey, I need just a little sign to tell me if I should start writing again." And then the talk with Brandon happened, and then this DM. I also texted my friend Ashley and said, "OMG, is this a sign?" She said, "Maybe." Then I got a text from my mom about a note I had written her a few days before, and she said, "You're a good writer." Hello, is that a sign too? I reckon they had to be. Then Brandon was all, "Hey, come look at the moon. I think it's a full moon." Which, if you know me, you know I love gazing at the moon. Don't worry, I'll tell you why later. I was like, "Okay, God, hello, I see you." Now, here I am. Day 1 of like hundreds of days of working on this book thing again. I reread my proposal I sent 2 agents a year ago, and I love it. I love the girl that wrote it. I'm proud of the girl that wrote it. But she's no longer me. She's faced rejection on bigger levels than a boyfriend she had in her 20s. She's dreamed bigger dreams. She's started new businesses, found her creative side thanks to her cricket, yelled at social workers until her son's adoptions were all finalized, and milked goats daily for a year. It's hard and humbling and scary to take your dreams into your own hands. Relying on others to accept or reject me was nice because I did the thing. I submitted the proposal. I called the realtor. I made offers on land. My fate was in someone else's hands. When you take dreams into your own hands, it means a lot of freedom, but also a lot of trusting yourself. I realized in the 24 hours since I cried on Brandon's shoulder in a hotel bed that I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself to do the work if someone wasn't making me. I didn't trust myself to accomplish this big thing that I'd talked about for years. I didn't have a deadline. I didn't have a cash advance. I didn't have people praising my work. It was just me, in a hammock in Mexico for 3 more days, chasing my dreams. Sure, Brandon was there interrupting me every 5 minutes to tell me about his Stephen King book, but it's just me sharing my story with you. You people that hopefully will hear these words. The thousands of people over the last 18 years that have said, "Oh, you should write a book." I did remind Brandon of all of you when he asked me who told me I should write a book, But since I couldn't name very many of you, sorry, he said that was nice, but I shouldn't feel entitled due to you. I should feel entitled due to me, my dreams, my desires, my story to tell. It's been bursting inside of me for years. Every day I think about writing, as if that has never been a sign, LOL. But I've been scared. Scared of big dreams. Scared to be vulnerable in more than 2,200 characters on an Instagram caption. If you've got big dreams, I get you. I see you. It's freaking hard. Harder than I ever thought. When crying to Brandon, I legitimately wailed, "I'm overwhelmed having so many big dreams. It's too much to handle." You feel me? It's okay if you don't. All dreams are valid and good, and chasing them, big or small, is hard as crap. This is your permission slip. No expiration dates. Permission to dream really big dreams. I'm here to extend hope to you that you can live the rebellious life you want and dream the big dreams you want. You're gonna get told no. I am still going to get told no. But today, we say, who cares? We are living our best, truest, most rebellious life. Like, don't commit crimes, but, like, do the things that make you feel alive. If committing crimes makes you feel alive, get a cat or something. Just don't do that. We need your dreams. We need the rebellion. We need the hope that we can be who we want to be. We need the ability to chase our size XXXS to XXXL dreams. Introduction. I'll pray for you, and other outrageous things said to disabled people. If I had $1 for every time someone told me, "I'll pray for you," I'd be rich. Literally a millionaire. Daily, I receive messages from very kind and well-meaning people telling me they are praying for me. People that I don't know, but who have just seen me on social media. Seen is the key word here. They see my face and equate how I look with needing healing. These messages are typically unsolicited, and I don't really think anyone should need an explanation as to why you shouldn't message people and tell them you're praying for them when they haven't indicated they need prayer. But maybe some people do. Every time I bring this topic up, though, I get a lot of feedback and strong opinions from people, so maybe we do need an explanation. Let me say straight up, I believe in God and Jesus. I believe in prayer. I believe in meditation, and I believe in healing. All those things are explicitly true in my own life. But I still don't think you need to tell people, unsolicited, that you are praying for them without any prompting. If you want to pray, do it. Your prayers don't count any more or less if you tell the person. There is a difference here, friends. I am certain that every single day of my life, probably before I was born, people have prayed for me. My parents, my grandparents, and countless kind humans have prayed for me. I think that's incredible, and it brings me to tears to think about it. There have been innumerable times that I've gotten cards in the mail from people from my grandma and grandpa's church in Tennessee telling me I'm being prayed for. There is more than one prayer shawl that has been knitted for me by incredible women of faith as they prayed for me. Whether you two believe in God or not, having faith like that is impressive. I'm inextricably grateful for each of my days being covered in prayer. These are beautiful and welcomed, and I am so grateful for them. Knowing all that, please trust me in what I'm sharing. Prayer itself is not the issue. Pray for me, pray for Beyoncé, pray for whatever you and your higher power want to pray for. One message I received still sticks out to me. It said, I will pray for you. I think God should be with you and heal you, because trying matters, and miracles do happen. Phew, did I lose my mind. I love Jesus and God, and I know they are with me. I don't think I'm not healed because I'm not trying hard. Trying for what? Trying for faith? Trying to be a good person? The Jesus I believe in, who hung with prostitutes and degenerates, never asked anyone to try harder before he interacted with them or healed them. Trying is the antithesis of the gospel of Jesus, so I'm not for that language at all. I'm a relatively good human being. I don't do any one specific thing in life because I'm trying to be healed or earn jewels on my crown in heaven. I was just raised by good people and try to be a good, inclusive, and affirming person. I really do believe the people who share messages about praying for me have good intentions. I don't think they do so out of malice, anger, or harm. The line, I think God should be with you and heal you, makes me laugh and feel insane all at the same moment. I too think God should be with me, and let me check. Yep, I think she's right here with me. Thanks, God. This person saw my face, probably amidst mindless scrolling on social media, and assumed that because of how I looked, I needed to be healed. They didn't know my medical history, didn't know that I was born with this condition, didn't know that the tube in my neck and tube in my belly sustain me and give me the ability to hike mountains, travel internationally, parent these kids, and move my body every day. They just saw foreign objects in holes that surgeons cut in my body and assumed I needed healing to remove them. Similar to how mobility aids help people get around in the world, my feeding tube lets me live. And I live a dang good life. There is nothing to actually heal me from. I guess healing the thousands upon thousands of cysts in my head and neck so I could swallow, and maybe healing from the insane scar tissue in my head that has bent multiple titanium plates and screws in more than one reconstructive surgery that also pulls my lower lip down so it doesn't touch the top one. I don't ever let myself think about these possibilities and changes because this imaginary person wouldn't be me. I can't picture what I'd look like if my lips touched and my mouth wasn't open. Some days it would be nice to have a belly that wasn't full of scars and a feeding tube, but after 32 years, I don't think I'd want to learn how to eat by mouth and figure out what I like or don't like and pay for food at restaurants. Brandon fell in love with me and how I look, not how I'd look if I were ever to be healed. He didn't go into this relationship, nor did any previous partners, with the hope or assumption that anything would ever be any different. Yes, my face is different, but honestly, if it wasn't how it is, I would be just another basic white girl. Eating without a feeding tube would maybe feel more inclusive, but I couldn't do things like blend up leftover chili, rice, some mango, eggs from our chickens, and whatever else I found in the fridge. I get to eat as healthy as I want, or don't want, here's to blending up pizza, and live my best life. Also, I can eat while I'm sleeping or in the shower, so really, who is losing out? All these things have made me who I am. And yes, my character can use some healing, but on a regular day-to-day basis, my body doesn't need healing. Once, I was in a church in Colorado, and as I was leaving when the service ended, a woman came up to me and blocked my path. She put her hands on my head without asking and started praying over me. She prayed for healing and recovery and then started speaking in tongues. I moved her hands off me real quick and was very firm in stating I didn't need to be healed. Could I be healed from my controlling behavior, quick tongue, and the short temper that rears its ugly head? Sure thing. But that woman didn't know any of those not-so-fun things about me. She just saw that I looked different and maybe heard that my voice sounded different. She assumed, without knowing me or having any interaction with me, that it was her job to cast out whatever demon was in me so my face would become normal. She was very taken aback as to why I wouldn't want her prayers and didn't understand why I dismissed her and scurried away so quickly. What if I had been someone exploring their faith and coming to church for the first time, and that's the experience I had? I imagine I would be so turned away from following Jesus after that. The number of assumptions this woman had based on my appearance and location is astounding. I have talked to countless other disabled individuals who have the same story as me. It is not uncommon. Just because you don't have the audacity to invade someone's privacy like this, thank you, doesn't mean others don't. It's absurd. I get the heebie-jeebies just thinking about this woman. This was years before we lived in a pandemic world, but hello, germs have always existed. I don't know where her hands had been. She didn't know where my head had been. What if I was very sweaty? If you and your higher power want to speak in tongues, that is your prerogative in life. But I want to know what is being said about me, to my face, behind my back, to a higher power, whatever, however. For all I know, she was cursing me. I don't play around with tongues. I don't care if she or you were praying to any specific higher power. I'm not here to debate religion or what is true or valid by any means. But I want to at least know what is happening whilst the prayers are going up. Ableism is so deeply rooted in our society that people are conditioned to think that disabled equals bad or wrong or needing to be fixed. Without knowing a single fact, our minds snap to how a disability can be different, how it can be fixed, and what could make it better. Better tends to equal normal. I'm not sure I want to be better if that's the case. No disabled person needs to be. We weren't made to be clones. I want to be me, even if others think the me I am isn't something they would want to be. There are several stories in the Bible of disabled people interacting with Jesus and them being healed. I am here for miracles. Not the late-night televangelist miracles where you can pay your way, but real-life miracles. I am a miracle. No doctor thought I'd survive, and here I am, living the best life I know. I believe if Jesus wanted me to wake up tomorrow with lips that touched and could breathe and eat without tubes, he could do it. That'd be really cool. I don't pray for that, though. The thought has never crossed my mind. Don't get me wrong. I've spent time over the last 30 years asking why I was made this way, but never asking for it to change. Perhaps, instead of random messages, we need to let everyone lead the conversations that they are comfortable with having. I almost typed, "We need to let disabled people lead," but honestly, we all need to let each other lead. We need to trust that every person is an expert in themselves and what they need and want from life. I love who I am. I love what I look like. My physical appearance does not need to be healed. Lots of other crap in my life does, but not my cute little face. What you are about to listen to will come to you in chunks, parts, sections, if you will. They are as follows. Part 1. Growing Up Stories and Medical Afflictions. Part 2. Loving People and Animals. Part 3. Fitness, Intentional Movement Each Day. Part 4. The Moon is Round and Other Moments of Advocacy and Agency. In each part, you'll find chapters that I like to think of as essays. Each could stand on its own. In fact, I invite you to listen to each piece as its own essay. Go ahead, skip around. Listen to one from each part. Start in the middle. Go crazy. Life is not linear, and neither is listening to this book. Of course, you can start at the beginning and listen straight through. It's up to you. You get to choose. You are in charge of your path and your dream seeking. Let's do it. Part 1. Growing Up Stories and Medical Afflictions. 1. When the Rebellion Began. If you were to ask me when the rebellion in my life began, it would be hard to give you an answer, as the rebellion in my heart began before my heart was even formed and beating. The rebellion began in a life before mine, with my mother. In January 1990, tiny embryo Hannah was formed, and I must say I'm very happy to know no details of the event. I'm not even sure how far along in my mom's pregnancy she found out that I was special. But at some point she did. She's not a very rebellious person by nature. She's actually like an angel on earth. But she knew better than the doctors did for the first time that day. Mama always knows best. I can't imagine how scary it is to be pregnant, for the 4th time, with a baby that doctors were constantly telling her was not viable, was not worth it, and would not live. If it had been her first pregnancy, I'd think she was overly hopeful and brave. But because she had done these 3 times before and was still willing to take the risk, I'd say she's rebellious. So you can say that being rebellious is really in my DNA. My dad was rebellious as a youth in plenty of ways, so he certainly gets some credit too. They made the hard decision to stay the course with little embryo Hannah, who turned into little fetus Hannah with a fat head, and they persisted. Whether it be their belief that God had bigger plans, or their rebellious nature to go against the grain and to believe bigger and better things were to come, the bigger the setback, the bigger the comeback, and I don't think anyone can deny that my comeback has been anything less than great. But I'm grateful they were tenacious and installed that in me from before I entered this world. I was born in late September and was in the NICU for months. Having friends now that have babies in the NICU, I can't imagine how my parents did it with 3 other kids at home. I'm glad they did, though. My dad loves to tell the story about how on Halloween he bought me a little skeleton costume, and my mom was not happy about it. So, when she left the hospital, he and the nurses put it on me. See? I really was destined to be a rebel. Rebellious parents, rebellious nurses. It's in my genes. Growing up, I had an incredible team of doctors. When I was born, I can't even imagine the amount of panic and terror for the doctors that were working that day. I know that my condition, cystic hygroma, is rarely covered in medical classes or journals or books now, so I can't even imagine what it was like 32 years ago. But I was born, and they figured things out minute by minute, day by day, and worked with my parents to ensure tiny Hannah kept on trucking. I wasn't in the clear immediately, though, just because I got my trach and feeding tube. The prognosis was still grim. Doctors were convinced that despite their best effort...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?